Dear learners, welcome to the second video of the second week. In the previous video, you have been able to understand how physical and motor development take place during the most important period of one's life, that is the early childhood period. In this video, we will be dealing with another important domain of child development, that is the cognitive development. Along with the physical changes, the young children are also encountered with some cognitive changes which are essential for their overall development and adjustment. Cognition is one of the important aspects of individual's life. This video lecture will also shed light on concept development among the children which is related to the cognitive development. This phase of early childhood lays the foundation for intellectual abilities and personality. As a preschool teacher or aspirant teacher, you all must be well acquainted and familiar with this developmental aspect to know the children better. Let's know. Cognitive development or mental development is a continuous process which continues without interruption in every stage of growth. The process of mental growth and development of an individual's cognition, mental or intellectual abilities like sensation, perception, conception, generalization, and interpretation. These abilities are interrelated and never develop in isolation. Childhood is the period of rapid mental and growth and development. The child's mental functions and mental capacities which relate to his or her perception, memory, reasoning, concept formation, problem solving, and creative thinking are important for tackling the many different and difficult problems of life and intimately related to his or her performance as a learner. Continuing from infancy, early childhood is a rapid period of brain growth with an increase in synapses and connections among brain regions. It is important for you to know that at the age of 2 years, the brain reaches 75% of its adult weight and 90% by the age of 5. However, children's increasing motor and cognitive abilities are not simply due to the increase in brain matter. These are some other factors related to mental and cognitive development in the children, like family and preschool environment, other aligned developmental aspects like language, motor, and social development, etc. Mental development comes from the maturation of the intellectual capacities of the child and from knowledge acquired by learning over a period of time. While discussing the stages of lifespan in one of our previous videos, we have quoted the name of Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist. He developed a theory of cognitive development that provides a framework for understanding how children think, learn, and develop over time. His theory is especially relevant to early childhood because it focuses on how young children acquire knowledge and adapt to their environment. Piaget proposed that cognitive development occurs in stages, each characterized by distinct ways of thinking and interacting with their own world. Piaget's stages of cognitive development are classified into 4 stages. First is sensory motor stage, which is from birth to 2 years. The key features of this stage is that knowledge develops through sensory experiences and physical actions. Infants explore the world using their senses like by touching, sighting, tasting, and motor abilities. Second one is pre-operational stage, which ranges from 2 to 7 years. The key features of this stage is that development of symbolic thought, means they can use words, images, and objects to represent things. Children engage in imaginative plays. Then third stage is concrete operational stage, which ranges from 7 to 11 years of age. The key features of this stage is that logical thinking develops, but only about concrete object and event. Children understand concepts like conservation, reservability, and classification. Another important features of this stage is that reduce egocentrism. That means that children begin to understand others' perspective also. For example, a child can arrange objects in order by size, seriation, and understand that 3 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 3. The last stage, as defined by Jean Piaget, is formal operational stage, which ranges from 11 years onwards. The key features of this stage is that development of abstract and hypothetical thinking occur. Ability to reason logically about abstract ideas, concepts, and situations become. The skills such as problem solving, hypothesis testing, and systematic planning emerges during this stage. For example, a teenager can think about philosophical questions and solve complex algebra problems. So, the second stage of cognitive development, as analyzed by Jean Piaget, is termed as pre-operational stage, which extend from 2 to 6 years of life. That means the mental or cognitive development during early childhood period falls under this pre-operational stage as categorized by Jean Piaget. As discussed, this stage is characterized by symbolic thought, egocentrism, centralism, and lack of conservation. So, on the basis of this, we can discuss the mental development in children during the early childhood period under the headings of number 1, development of perception. During the preschool stage, the mental abilities of the child develop very rapidly. His or her perceptual powers increases and his or her curiosity are aroused to a great extent. Then they also develop curiosity. With increased intellectual abilities and increased ability to speak and communicate, the preschool children acquire the ability to ask questions in words. Therefore, this stage is also named as questioning stage because they ask so many questions out of their curiosity. Then third is discrimination between people and object. With increased intellectual abilities, especially the abilities to reason and to see relationship, the preschool children understanding of people, object, and situation increases rapidly. They can discriminate between people and object easily. They can also understand relationship. During this period, children come to know about the simple relationship like parents, siblings, relatives, etc. This increase in understanding comes from new meanings being associated with meanings learned during babyhood. Then self-understanding. By the time they are 3 years old, most young children know their sex, their boy or girl, their full names, and the names of different parts of their bodies. Then they also develop meaningful concepts. Preschool children begin to notice details that formerly escaped their attention. As a result, their concepts become more specific and meaningful to them. They also develop thinking and reasoning capacity. Children begin to think symbolically and engage in pretended play, showing early signs of abstract thinking. However, their thinking is still energetic, means they are focused on their own perspective. Then they also develop memory and attention power. Short-term memory improves, allowing them to follow simple instruction and remember sequences. Attention spans increases gradually. Then development of symbolic thought is important. Children develop the ability to use symbols such as words and images to represent object and event. Pretended play, for example, using a stick as a sword, become prominent. Then egocentrism is one of the important mental development during the early childhood period. Children view the world primarily from their own perspective. They find it challenging to see things from others' viewpoint, a concept Piaget demonstrated with his famous three-mountain task. Then, centration focuses on one aspect of a situation or object while ignoring others. For example, in Piaget conversation tasks, a child might think a taller glass contains more water even if both glasses hold the same amount. Then they also understand the cause and effect. Basic logical reasoning develops during this period, although it remains intuitive rather than analytical. They begin to understand sequences and the consequences of action. They also develop imitation and learn role playing. Observation learning plays a significant role with children imitating adults and peers. They also learn social roles and behaviors through play and interaction. We can derive their fundamental mental and cognitive characteristics developed during this early childhood period on the basis of our discussion. We can say that the children during this period are filled with varied experiences connected with his or her immediate environment. The child can accumulate a heap of knowledge. The child can understand the basic functional relationship between things and events. The children develop high degree egocentrism and fantasy. They live in the world of fantasy. They develop interest in adventurous activities increases. There is a rapid increase in memory, thinking, and reasoning in the young children. Children develop creativity and imagination. Along with the sensory perceptual learning begins in the children. They also develop a desire for specific learning. During this stage, children acquire considerable increase in vocabulary and language as a tool of thought and imagination. Considerable mental stability is attained by the end of the early childhood period. While discussing the cognitive development during the early childhood stage, we must include the discussion on concept development, which is a key feature during this period. So, concept development or formation during early childhood period refers to the process by which young children develop the ability to classify, categorize, and understand objects, event and ideas. The ability is essential for organizing knowledge and making senses of the world. With the gradual development by age, the child's concept become more meaningful and specific to him or her. During the early childhood period, that is from the 3 to 6 years, children move from concrete perception to more abstract reasoning, which lays the foundation for higher order thinking skills. Concept formation is strongly influenced by the child's experiences, interaction with the environment, and the young children's feelings and emotions have a marked influence on their developing concept. Concept may relate to object, to people, to qualities, or to relationship. Concepts are important because they determine what one knows and believes. The accuracy or inaccuracy of size concept affect understanding. Preschool children develop many of the same concepts which they earn through their common learning experiences. Other concepts are individual and depend upon the learning opportunities of the particular child. For example, a young children who has traveled to other states or countries or region may develop concept of people and pattern of like unlike those of a child whose experience have been more limited. As such, we can say that development of concept in young children depends upon the environment he or she receives. Moreover, the concept developed during early childhood stage may change or overcome in the later period with more refined knowledge and experiences. As such, there are individual differences in concept formation during the preschool stage, but many of these differences overcome when they go to school and subjected to similar learning experiences. Due to developed concept developed formation, children can categorize. So children begin grouping object or event based on shared characteristics such as size, color, shape or function. For example, grouping all round object as ball or all animal with fur as dogs. Then generalize. They can generalize. Children learn to apply a concept to new situation or object. For example, recognizing that a small furry creature is a cat, even if it's a different color from one they have seen before. They can also differentiate. As children's understanding depends, they refine concept and learn to distinguish between similar objects or ideas. For example, understanding that cats and dogs are both animals but belong to different categories. They can think concretely. Concepts are based on observable and tangible attributes. For example, a child may identify big as something they can physically see or hold. Their perceptions become more egocentric. Early concepts are shaped by a child's immediate experiences and personal view of the world. They often struggle to see things from another's perspective, which is a common characteristic during this early childhood period. The increased language and leveling. Vocabulary development plays a critical role in concept formation. Learning names and words helps children classify and organize their experiences. They can do experiment by trial and error. Children explore their environment, test assumption, and revise their understanding. For example, a child might initially call all four-legged animal dogs, but adjust as they learn more. So we can discuss some of the common concepts that preschool children develop during this early childhood stage. First is concept of life. Preschool or young children tend to ascribe living qualities to inanimate objects like doll and stuffed animal. Then concept of death. Young children tend to associate death with anything that goes away, but they are unable to comprehend the finality of death. Then about the body function. Young children develop the concept of bodily functions. With the entrance in school, these concepts are elaborated. Then concept of space. Young children can judge short distance and judge left and right accurately. Then concept of weight. Young children estimate weight almost exclusively in terms of size. Then the concept of numbers. Young children usually understand numbers up to an average number. The preschool experience helps the children in this context. Then the concept of time. Most of the young children know the day of the week, and by they reach the end part of the early childhood stage, they are able to categorize the month, season, and the year. Then concept of self. By the time children are 3 years old, they know their sex, their full names, and names of different parts of their body. Play helps in the development of self-concept. Then they also develop the concept of beauty. Most young children prefer music with a definite tune or rhythm, and they like simple design and bright color. Sex roles. Clear concept of appropriate sex roles are developed by the time boys are 5 years old, but for girls, these concepts are less clear because the appropriate sex roles for girls is not as clearly defined as for boys. This is because of gender stereotypes. Then social awareness. Before early childhood ends, most children are able to form definite opinion about others, like whether a person is nice, mean, or smart, dumb, funny, etc. As such, they develop clear concept of social awareness. Then concept of comic. Among the things most often perceived as comic by young children are funny faces made by themselves or by the others, socially inappropriate behavior, and the antics of domestic animals. So these are the common concepts that are developed by the children during the early childhood stage. But it is important to mention here that not all children develop all of these concepts that we have discussed, nor they develop these in the same degree, because no two individuals will have identical concept, since nobody precisely has the same intellectual abilities. Individual difference is the key factor influencing these differences. Concept based on learning opportunities of that particular children vary to child. Thus, the capacity to learn, remember, and symbolize information and to solve problems exists at a simple level in young children who can perform cognitive tasks such as discriminating animate and inanimate beings or recognizing small number or objects. Developmental advances in cognition are also related to experience and learning. So how concepts are being formed? To get the answer to this question, we can discuss here the stages of concept formation. Psychologists classify the stages into three parts. First is perceptual stage. So concepts are formed based on direct sensory experiences. My sight, sound, and touch. For example, a child learns the concept of soft by touching a stuffed toy. Then second one is concrete operational stage. So by interacting with objects, children begin to understand similarities and differences. For example, sorting blocks by size, shape, or color. So by doing this, they are able to differentiate between the two things. Then last one is abstract understanding, which is called emerging. So early childhood lays the groundwork for abstract thought. True abstract reasoning emerges later part of the childhood. It is very important here to discuss the influencing factor in early cognitive and concept development. First and foremost is environment. A stimulating environment with books, toys, and social interaction is very much important to foster development. Second is social interaction. Conversation with caregivers and peers enhance understanding and expose the children to different perspectives. Then parental support. Responsive parenting and encouragement of exploration is very much critical for their development. Nutrition and health. Proper nutrition and physical well-being significantly impact the brain development in the children. Then cultural context. Cultural practices and norms influence cognitive milestones and how children learn to think and interact. Then reinforcement and feedback. Positive feedback when children correctly classify and label objects from parents as well as from teachers helps reinforce their learning. Now we can discuss the role of early childhood education in this important area of development. ECE serves as a cornerstone for cognitive development and concept formation. How? By providing the tool and environment for young children how to learn, explore, and grow. By fostering curiosity, creativity, and structured learning, ECE programs build the foundational skills needed for lifelong learning and success. ECCE is a school readiness program. As such, it prepares children for formal schooling by fostering early literacy, numeracy, and problem-solving skill. It also facilitates the cognitive flexibility. Exposure to diverse activities enhances adaptability and creative thinking. It helps to develop critical thinking skill. Early development of logical reasoning and concept formation lays a strong foundation for later academic success. By applying different strategies, early childhood educator can enhance cognitive and concept development. First, by applying play-based learning, using toys, games, and role play to teach foundational concepts. For example, playing store to understand money and counting. Then, by applying thematic units, introduction of children to new ideas and concepts through themes like season, transportation, or community helpers. By storytelling and reasoning, the children develop the language, imagination, and understanding of the abstract ideas. By applying the strategy of interactive learning, hands-on activities like cooking, measuring ingredients, or art, mixing colors to reinforce cognitive skill and concept. The ECC also provides concrete experiences, hands-on activities such as planting seeds to understand growth or mixing colors to create a new shape, make abstract concepts tangible and relatable. Cultural and social exposure. Multicultural ECE program introduce children to diverse ideas, fostering a broader perspective and encouraging concept formation around diversity and social roles. By using play, they can reinforce concepts among the children. Play-based learning, for example, pretend grocery shopping to teach counting and money concept allows children to apply and solidify their understanding. It also encourages categorization and classification. Activities such as sorting objects by size, color, and function help children form, categorize, and understand relationship between objects and ideas, etc. So hope this video lecture is helpful for you to get an overview how cognitive and concept development take place in children during their early childhood stage. In the next video, we will come with another domain of development during this early childhood period. Stay tuned. Thank you.